Welcome to Street Scene Power Hour, and here's the deal.
What's the deal?
This is the end. No more Street Scene Power Hour.
Take care, you guys.
Yeah, you can
We
leave
done
now.
already? We just started.
We just started, and how come you show up and it ends?
I don't know.
Okay.
Bad omen, bad omen.
Yeah, it is, and I apologize. And I had a great time.
Yeah, well,
But,
you know what, we are sad to say will be our final episode for the end of the year and for good. In its current form, okay? So we are ending the Street Scene Power Hour.
There could be some surprises.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
We're working on something hopefully special for
And this is
the
our
audience.
Christmas show too, right?
it is.
It is our Christmas show?
No, because I know, you know what Rick does every year? He makes me wear this stupid hat.
Wait, this is not our Christmas show?
Sure.
Yes, it is.
It is our, it is our.
Sure.
Yes.
You guys are a bunch of Scrooges. Look, at least I got some green
All right,
on
well,
here.
see what you could do. Rick, see what you could do.
And I brought some hats.
Yeah.
here.
I wore black for the announcements we had. Thank you, yes.
There's a green one in the middle, and
See what you can do.
another one.
Okay,
Make
okay.
it festive.
Here, now.
Look like idiots. That's our point. They look like total idiots during the show.
It'll be festive.
I don't- it
And we even got bells on. At least mine does.
Yeah, you ring everybody's bell, Rick. So anyway,
Happy holidays. Yes.
happy holidays to
Drink
everybody
some
out
bourbon
there.
for me.
So you probably noticed by now there's some changes on the neighborhood channel. Let me explain that to the audience. We ran 1 week of Street Scene Marathon. They are changing the channel 100 to all the systems in the company for local programming, so we'll have blocks. But we will run Street Scene episodes at every block I get for the month of December. So look forward to that. You can always watch our Street Scene episodes on YouTube, and we want to thank Don Snyder, Doug Dunkel, and
Yes.
he has been one of our biggest supporters, and we really thank him.
And
we're
we-
out here at his place.
And we love coming down here.
Yeah, I mean,
this is
it's-
like a slice of heaven.
When you walk in the door, you get a drool rag. So you can sit there like this when you walk all through his collection of Model Ts, Model As, and the Thunderbolts and the lightweight racers behind us.
When we walked in, remember 2 years ago we walked in and Doug was working on that 71
We're
Cuda?
lucky you didn't have a heart attack. So,
And then
yeah,
we walk in today and he's still working on the 71 Cuda, but it's almost done.
Oh,
and
I
what
know.
a beauty.
Got a 69 Charger, which it was a funny thing. My buddy, real quick, he loves 69 Chargers.
Yeah.
That's his car, and he came out with it one day because I'm restoring a Torino, and Doc has one out here, so I did get some pictures. He walked in, and there's that green 69 Charger, and he about fell backwards. And he needs one restored, and he's like, I know where I'm going.
I think you ought to bring the Torino down there and have Doug do it.
I
for you.
wish, yeah, but I.
You know, being
as
out-
long as he does it for $10 or $15, wave it in front of him. He
You
might
guys
do it.
being out here, this is like the, and I know this is not the right term, but like the ultimate man cave.
Yes.
I mean, to come out here, I can sit here and just have a cup of coffee and just look around and just drool, like you said, because there are some unbelievable cars.
Yeah.
I mean, these cars you see on TV. This isn't something you see at some of our
These-
local car shows.
These are top notch.
Top-notch.
We know who does the top notch work in the Mahoning Valley. So we're
Again,
happy.
It's a pleasure being here.
Yes, we're happy to be out here. We're glad I asked to come out. They're more than willing to have us come out. We wanted to put an end to the show because we really started Street Scene a long time ago, and we came out here 3 times to do features. So, and it's been wonderful every time. And I'm going to say this now. This is the last year of Street Scene. 17 years. And let me explain this to our audience of why. It's not because of Rick, it's not because of John, it's because of me.
Yeah, bad ratings. They don't like Greg.
Blame me for it because 17 years of spending every time going out working and then coming back and looking at a show. Editing takes a lot of work. I spend anywhere from 15 hours to 40 hours editing one show. So it's
trying to make me look good, huh?
Well, that never works. No matter how many filters I put on your face, it still looks terrible.
Yeah, we're not going to judge the editing on that.
Here's what we're going to do. This will be the last, 2025 is the last Street Scene episode and the last Street Scene Car and Custom Bike Show. I want you guys to come out. Send us off in a blaze of glory, please.
We don't have a schedule yet, though, do we?
No. Well, we're going to concentrate on, we want to come back to our roots. We've stepped out to Harmony, PA. We've gone down to Butler. We've gone down.
Pittsburgh.
We're going to stay here.
Yep.
We're going to the car cruises, which started us for us all. We're going to hit We're going to hit Lowville. We're going to hit some of these big car cruises this
Quaker
year.
Steak and Loop, hopefully.
Yes. Yes, we want to come back and we will have the Oldsmobile show. I did promise them that. So we will. This is the last episode of Street Scene Power, and this is the last season of Street Scene.
Hopefully we'll get better weather for that Oldsmobile show.
Yeah, I hope so.
But, we got a lot of hits on that Oldsmobile show. You know that.
It's a popular show.
Yeah,
and
so, when we did it, it would rain like
So
crazy.
2025, you're still going to do the street scene.
That's it. There'll be
That's the last
probably
year.
between 5 and 7 episodes of Street Scene.
All right.
That's it.
But
And
for
it's
the Power Hour, this is it.
This is it.
This is
Power
the
Hour. This is.
end.
We wanted to wrap it up and send it off with a blaze of
But
glory
there may
as well.
be coming in the future
Hopefully something.
some other.
We are scheming on some ideas for the audience here, so we're working on that. But let's go back on our past season. John was part of our season as well.
Yeah, John started us off at the Relay for Life cruise at Southern Park Mall. I had a wedding to go to.
You did.
That was
You
the
did.
first time I missed a show in 16 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time. So.
And it's sad you missed it. I can't recall anybody asking where's Rick, but still, during the show,
That's great.
he learned from the best.
it was. I don't know. It was.
It was his last show.
I think one guy said that when I was interviewing one guy, he said, "Hey, who was that other guy that used to do our interview?" But
I get that a lot with
yeah,
Krista.
but it's great. I love doing the Power Hour, but doing the shows is kind of cool because you get to do that one-on-one discussion with the individuals, get to ask them what shows, and the unique or the thing that I liked the best in doing that show, the street scene, was we actually focused in on a VW, which you never focus in on VWs. But
Thank you.
We did a couple
But,
shows. We've done
yeah.
shows.
I had to break his arm to do those shows
but we're
too.
going to talk. You'll talk about the show you did up at Geneva, but
yeah.
I love doing the Southern Park Mall type show. It was great. It
was fun.
A lot of local guys
people,
and
good people out
great
there,
some
yeah.
great people. We even digressed a little bit. Did a show with Keith on the mini bikes.
Yeah.
He had a couple there, so it's a lot of fun doing those streets.
Yep. So basically, we went out there. Rick had first time in 16 years.
Yeah, I missed.
You had a lot of trials and tribulations in your life about 10 years ago, and you made it to all the shows we'd scheduled. So that I guess you're allowed one show to miss.
One show,
Yeah.
yes.
So, and we
That
had
was
that show.
weird.
That was Michael Adamski came to approach us about doing that show. I think it was their first annual show.
The Relay
It's gonna
for
happen
Life,
again.
yeah.
So that was a really, really nice day. It was a really nice turnout. Me and John had a good time,
it was
especially
nice.
without Rick. So, did I say that? Oh, yeah.
You're going to be on the naughty list this year. You know that.
I'm on the naughty list every year. What do you expect? So that was a great show. We look forward to seeing it. And you know what? The best part, I hate to say it, I've done this show for a long time, and I'm burnt out on doing the show. I like going to car shows to enjoy them. I got to the point where I don't like going to car shows because I'm always working them.
Well,
I want to get back to
Greg's
that point.
had his problems, physical problems. I remember
That's-
back in the early days, Greg used to have to carry around this big camera, and he was having, shoulder problems, right?
Yeah.
And my God, halfway through the show, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this. I can't do this.
That was 12 years ago.
Yeah, and then we went to the smaller camera, and it was better.
But
And then his
You
hips,
know,
and his hips went bad on him.
I think that people don't realize, and you referenced it in the beginning, the editing aspect of it, the carrying the camera around. People don't realize what goes into doing
No.
a street scene show. They see it on TV, and it's an hour long, half hour long, some of these shows, and they figure that's it. There's work involved.
yeah, like I said,
There's a lot of work
between
involved.
15 and 40 hours of editing. I mean, you see the graphics, you see the music, you see the people have to cut, the interviews have to cut down. The show open, the show close is just a lot of work.
I had the easy part. I'd go there for a couple hours, interview the people, and go home. Greg would take it back to the studio, and
It wears on you after, I've done video production for 32 years. And
I think he got tired of looking at me all that time. So
well, 16 of that will burn your eyes out. Trust me. So, yeah, but that's the reason why it's nothing the company wants us to do it, I'm kind of done. So, but again, there's all the reruns on YouTube. And if you followed Motor Trend, I know there's a lot of Motor Trend fans out there. And what has happened to Motor Trend, that Discovery bought them out and they got rid of every Motor Trend show now. So it's kind of a sign of the times. Roadkill, Overhauling's been off, but all those shows, the Roadkill Garage, Hot Rod Garage, they're gone. They're gone. You can watch reruns, but they have one more season to air. Kind of like us. We have one more season to go.
Everything comes to an end.
Yeah,
There's a beginning and an end.
It was, it's sad, but I hate to say it, I'm kind of excited to actually go see our fans and enjoy and maybe sit down with you guys for a change. Instead of having to run off, you see me out there, Rick will stop and I'm off to the next car, running and running. I'm tired of that. I can't do it much more anymore.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
there's no doubt.
But second show, where did we go next?
We went to the Mahoning Valley Corvette Club at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
I was there.
It was,
and you were
June
there.
30th. He did all the Corvettes.
Yes. So he's our Corvette guru. Rick and me, blah, blah, blah. We're not very Corvette-ish. So we left it up to the guy that actually owns a Corvette.
Yeah, and you know what? That show was it was my second Corvette show I went to, and you realize that when you go to a show that's focused on one of the cars that you have, the conversation is so easy.
Yes.
Because you're sharing information, you're sharing likes, you're sharing dislikes. I was watching some of the older shows on Armstrong that you guys did, and I wasn't involved. That Corvette Club is really involved with community and involvement
They are.
there. And it's a Corvette show, but there was other than Corvettes there.
Yes.
Still body cars.
You still bought that, great show. I had a great time doing that.
I took care of the still body cars,
Yeah.
which I really enjoy.
Yeah. And you know what? You get to a point where you look, once you get a car, you're always looking for that car, even if you didn't have one before. But Corvette Club has been a supporter of us as well. They're always inviting us back, and we, there's years I had to turn them down because we've got to hit other shows. We can't be everywhere. But the Corvette Club throws on a hell of a show, and it's really nice.
In 2 years in a row, I won something from the Chinese auction, too.
I've never won a damn thing. I don't know how you do that. So, the Corvette Club, thank you for all the years you've supported us. We'll be seeing you down the road at some point.
See you down the road, for sure.
Yeah, that's a good show to be at, and we thank them for inviting us back. So
it was fun. I love the people out there. I love the people in this Youngstown area, and it's just, after next year I'm going to miss them, but
you'll be around.
I'll be around. Though. I'll be around all the shows, but without the camera, without Greg on my shoulder. And the next show we went to, believe it or not, July 6th, we went to Greenville Heritage Days in Greenville, Pennsylvania. And that's a heck of a show. If you've never been there, you been there?
Well, no, but I recently picked up, I told you guys, a 1960 Volo Celex mini bike, and it was in Greenville.
Okay.
And soon as I haven't been to Greenville, as soon as I drove in, that's a tight little community, tight little show.
That's an old show.
And I thought how cool that would have been to be at that car show, because they do it right downtown, right?
And there is. It's how many cars? Okay, we went on a nice day. You got rain, but last year's weather, you could say it was hot. It's beautiful. I'm all for the good weather, but they had, by the time we got there, was 500 cars there?
I think at the end there was like 1,200 cars there. Yeah.
In Greenville, PA. Just picture that for a minute. The whole downtown's packed.
That's one heck of a show. Bill Sumner's puts it on.
He's a great guy, and he always invites us out too, and we've done it twice.
And he does other cruises on the side too.
Yeah. And that's a great show to go to. So if you're ever in the Greenville area on the July 4th weekend, that's the one that I think usually
He got rid of his Chevelle there. Was that the Chevelle?
What?
Yeah, he got rid of the Chevelle, and he picked up, I think it's 67. I think it's a 67 Nova. I said, you can't get rid of that. Tubbed out and everything, so you have to see it.
I get it. So, that was a great show, and then we moved on to...
Oh, yes, July 21st, Street Scene Car and Custom Bike Show.
And he still can't say it right.
That was at Austintown Park, which every year we have fun. And Chris is our co-host, and nobody even sees me when Chris is there.
We don't want to see you anyway.
John did the bikes.
I did, and you talk about a location. Come on now, that has to be the best location to do a car
That's
show.
what it should have been,
It's all on the grass, so we don't have to yell at the people walking their dogs.
Yeah.
On the hot blacktop. It's huge. It's comfortable. Bands are going on. Vendors are there.
Yeah, what, 2 bands this
Two
year?
bands. You can relax in the shade trees. I interviewed a good neighbor of mine that had one of the custom cars out there. We did the bike show. We give away beautiful trophies.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to be honest, and I know I'm a little biased here. That is the best local show.
No, I appreciate it. We appreciate that.
There's no doubt. And again, the location, the number of people to show up, the trophies we give, the entertainment aspect of it. What do you want in the show?
But you know what? July 20th, 2025 will be our final Street Scene Car and Custom Bike Show at Austintown Park. We have Vegas coming back. They're a tradition for us.
Sure.
This year we have the house band.
You got the house band.
We're supposed to have them last year. We couldn't pull it off. They had a conflict at the last minute, so we have them this year. They felt really bad, and they rock the house. So
they're good. They're very good.
So they're going to be out there with us. We want you to come out for our final show. Let's make it the biggest show we've ever had at Austintown Park. And that's July 20th of 2025.
That's a good
It's
one.
almost like a big tailgate party.
Yeah, it's a big party.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
It's-
We want a big party.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of work that goes into that too. You think
That's another reason I'm
Yeah.
burnt out, because the work that goes into that, and I'm not trying to be...
people don't see that.
No.
They don't see. They see going to a car show, they go home, and that's it. But boy, there's months and months and months of
If you
prep
guys
for
have
that.
a crew, it's me organizing it, and I'm tired. I'm going to be honest with you. The older you get, if you're a younger guy, you'll find out. If you're older, you understand what I'm talking about. It's a lot of work, and it's getting harder and harder as time goes on to get volunteers to help us.
Oh boy, that's the worst. Yeah.
And it seems like it's that way with all the car shows, but it's very tough. And
When we did a Father's Day show, we just got a handful of people.
Yeah.
That pulled that thing off
well,
down in Sharon.
I had to pull teeth and bribe people this year to get it, and this year I don't know what I'm going to have to deal with, but we'll manage to do it right. So that's July 20th, 2025.
You're bringing up the work involved, and here's what happens. And Rick and I was talking about this earlier before we went on air. We do this because of our love of the classic cars.
Yes.
Okay. When you start doing shows and podcasts, all of a sudden you're more involved with the show and the podcasts, and the love for your cars are being put in the back of the garage.
Well, that's what happened to me.
know.
I mean, I got to the point where and I'm sorry to get personal on you, but I got to the point where I hate going to car shows. I despise it. And I don't want to get like that. That's why I knew it was time to end the show. Because I want to get out there and actually, maybe I can pull out a chair, maybe I can sit down and enjoy it with the fans and the people and talk to people. I don't get to talk to people that much. So that's what I want to do, and it's time to get back to the roots. So, next show, what did we go to after that?
We went to Cars in the Park.
Cars in the Park is one of our favorite
Boardman,
shows.
Ohio. I love that show. And the people around it, the Mahoning Valley Old Car Club, those people are the greatest. And
I had an inkling last year we're going to end the show, so I wanted to get back to the local shows we had. The local shows, like the car cruises, that's this year.
Yeah.
Local shows. The old Mahoning Valley Old Car Club has been very wonderful to us, and we want to thank them for that, for all these years of supporting us.
It's a very comfortable show. It's in the park and everything, Boardman Park.
Very nice.
And it's just the people around, they just make it really comfortable. We get some really nice cars there.
Yeah.
Not a lot. They probably get, 350?
Yeah.
400 cars at the most, yeah. It's just a real comfortable show. I
Yeah,
enjoy it every year.
yeah.
Even when we're not recording it, I go. So.
Yeah, so that tells you, if Rick goes to a show and we're not shooting it, then he really likes it. So
I just like the people. The people out there are great.
yeah, so
The car people.
And again, they're going to have it on. It's been on 47 years they've done
yeah.
that show.
Yeah.
Long time. So they're going to
been
have
a
it again
while.
this year. So make sure you come out to that one as well.
I think it's always the first Sunday of August, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken.
every
yeah.
year. Yep.
Oh boy, and here's the biggie. August 7th, we went to Ravenna, Ohio, the Octane Nights in downtown Ravenna.
Oh.
I've never made it, and I was going to make it last year, and I didn't make it last year.
Oh my gosh.
You missed
This year you have to go because
How many
Talk
cars?
about
How many cars they say?
4,000?
4 to 45, 4,000 to 45.
4,500
Yeah.
cars,
Oh
one
my
night
God.
show?
Yeah.
It's almost like Detroit's Woodward.
Yeah, for roadkill nights when they've had it
Right,
up there.
right.
This show, we walked in and our jaws dropped to the floor. We hit the road, it's like, we'll never get through all this show. But what some incredible cars, incredible trucks. The semi truck that we did.
Oh yeah, that was a feature. That was the Rick's pick, believe it or not.
Yeah, it
that
was.
big
So
Peterbilt.
they come from all over.
Everywhere. They are from Columbus, from Indiana.
Pittsburgh,
we had people.
everywhere.
It was
They
just
drive them in.
for a one night show. I mean, they could make that a weekend show.
Sure,
They
sure.
really could. But I get it. It's a lot of work.
I was there the year before that, and Greg, this was the first year for Greg, and Greg was like, "Wow!" And I go, "This is it, man."
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely going up and being an attendee this year. I'm going to take a car and we'll cruise the strip up there, and hopefully my Torino will be done by then. I'm hoping. But yeah, that's an incredible show. And one show you forgot to mention, we'll go back to April. Piston Power Show.
Oh yeah, that was our first show.
The first show. That was the second or third year we've been up there.
Yeah, that was our first show
my
this
gosh.
year. Yeah,
If you got to
I
go
forgot
see,
that one.
if you want to go and beat the weather, stay indoors, go up to the IX Center in Cleveland for the Piston Power Show. It is incredible. Some of the top-notch cars up there, and then you have the car clubs that put on their own show on the one side of the IX
the
Center.
local car club, yeah.
Beautiful cars. And you can take your time. It's all weekend, and that's usually end of March, beginning of April somewhere, and I can't remember the dates.
But if you want to get your car in there, you got to do it quick.
It might be sold out.
Yeah, it
but
might
you
be
wanna
sold out
check,
by now,
But
yeah.
they have room for it. So.
You know, what's interesting is some of these big shows that come up, we have the individuals who orchestrate those shows on as guests on the Power Hour.
Yes.
And it fills everybody in, and then they can kind of plan for it. The problem is sometimes we can't get them on early enough.
Yeah.
But that's one more show that
Steve Legursky
missed.
is in charge of that
Exactly.
show.
That's what I can recall him. Yeah.
You know, and he puts. As soon as the show ends, he's starting the next year. So it's a lot of planning to do. But wow, what some cars up there.
And you get a lot of the cars from the Detroit Autorama that come in there too.
Yeah, some of the Riddler winners and everything.
Riddler winners and the Grade H cars, and it's really cool.
Yep.
It's not as big as the Autorama, but it's big.
It's close.
It's close,
It's big. So, well, let's skip back down to the next show we went to this season.
We have to talk about that one. August 31st, we went up
That
to.
was the best one.
I know. Rick and V-Dubs. Okay,
We
Rick.
went to Geneva, Ohio. We went to see the bug infestation on the lake.
And there were some cool cars,
Oh,
you have to
sure,
admit up there. And on the lake, Geneva on Lake, we attended last year just as spectators, and we're like, we got to come back here because it's on the lake. It was nice. It was a little bit rainy that day.
It was, yeah. You know, and again, I always talk about, I took my wife to a couple car shows sometimes, and we sat there, and she goes, well, what do you guys do here? And I said, well, this is it. This is the car show.
This is pretty boring.
This is it. But our show at Austintown Park, again, because of the location, tons of stuff to do. You could even picnic there if you
Yeah.
want. What's cool about Geneva on the Lake, and I grew up on Geneva on the Lake, is the strip is right down the street.
Yep.
The show is right on the lake. You take
on the
right
lake.
on the lake. You're done with the show. You can walk down to the strip, hit some of the 50, 60-year-old places. There's a lot to do. And here's what Rick doesn't understand. Car shows are beautiful. When you go to a VW show, if you notice, everybody wants their picture taken next to a VW.
Yes,
Beetle.
because they're cool.
Everybody
Rick.
just wants to get that picture next to a VW.
I don't have one yet.
Yeah, well, we're gonna.
You didn't get one, Rick.
that's
We
the-
know that.
I didn't want to break the surprise, but that's your Christmas gift.
Yeah. It'll be a little Hot Wheels car.
Yeah, and when you talk VW, you got the Bugs, you got the Things, you got the Carmen Gias, you got the buses,
And you have the Type 3s.
Type 3s.
Yes, you have those.
That's a great show. That was a nice show put up.
Rods, what were they called?
Volksrad.
Volksrods.
Volksrad. You got the Volksrad. You got the sand rails. You got the Bajas. There's a lot going on with
Anything
VWs.
goes. It doesn't matter what you do with a
Yeah.
How
VW.
about that one that looked like a Ferrari?
You got the kit cars.
Yeah.
The Ferrari kit
I still want to
cars.
see a nice Bradley GT at some point.
Oh, yeah, those used to make those, huh?
Yeah, well, they made a ton of kit cars back in the 60s and 70s. There was
yeah.
tons of kit cars out
Bradley
there.
GT, I forgot about that
Yeah,
one.
so yeah, I've seen a few online, but they're beat. You know, I always wanted
They
one,
are.
but
Guys buy the body kits like any car you want to rebuild. You start off really strong, and then it gets pushed away in the back of the garage.
You have to start scotching all that money.
the body kits, I can't tell you how many garages I went to and I see body kits pushed up in the corner.
Yeah.
They just never finish them.
I don't know how many I've seen it sitting in the weeds in the backyard. You know, there'd be the Volkswagen chassis on one side, and then the other part in the grass, and it never gets done. But yeah, anything goes with the Volkswagen community. Corvette's a little different. You know, you got your niche. Volkswagen, anything goes. I have a Herbie the Love Bug replica. I've got my '61 Red Bug that I restored, and equally, people are interested in either
So let me
one.
just let's go through one more time on the Volkswagen. So you have everybody likes to restore the bugs, different models.
Yep.
Then you got the Thing, which was the square one.
Oh, yeah.
Then you got the Carmen Ghia,
Yep.
which I had.
Those are nice.
Then you take the Volkswagen Bug and you make it a Baja.
I love those, and I have a story on that one.
Then
I
you
won't
take
go
the
into.
Volkswagen Bug, throw the body away and make a sandrail.
Yep.
Then you take the Volkswagen, you make it a Volksrod.
Yep.
Then you take the Volkswagen and you make it a trike.
Yeah. And then you
All
drift,
from a Volkswagen.
and you make it a kit car.
Then
you
you
can
go
also
with the,
make it
then
a
you go to
car.
kit car.
Yeah.
And then you go to the guy's garage that wanted to do all those, and all those parts are pushed in the back of the
Yeah.
garage. He never got nothing done.
Yeah.
It's a
So-
sandrail.
Sandrail is just a rail with the big knobby tires on it.
Tubular
You run around the
frame.
beach,
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
flap around it.
Yeah.
I've had the sandrail, I had the Ghia, never had a Thing, had the Bugs, never had a 3. Oh, then you have the buses. I forgot
Yeah,
about
the
that.
buses,
And then
too.
we go into the category of the buses. You have the what are the campers
Yeah,
called?
the Westphalia bus.
Westphalia bus.
Yeah, you have the transporters are
Yeah.
the newer kind of what they turned into,
Yeah.
and I can't remember.
There's
the
just
rest.
so many more. Now, to jump ahead and something that we argue about and everybody's getting hard to accept, and I'm kind of seeing them pretty cool, the new Volkswagen electric Bug.
I saw that.
I know. Look,
I will shut my
Yeah,
mouth on
yeah.
that.
but well, maybe that'll be on our future shows.
Well, we got to touch on that. That's a future too.
You know,
I mean,
street scene electric car show. I don't know.
to make me
Keep it
sit
away
there.
from salt water, that's
You
all.
you're just going to kill me there. But you know, I'm an old, gasoline forever for me.
I'm with you.
I'm sorry. But you know, that was a great show. We should talk the rest of this show about bugs.
We could do that.
Well, guys, I think I gotta go now.
So yeah, we did that. But this year, just off the top of our heads, Lowellville. We've
Oh,
got to
love
go
that.
back to Lowellville.
Yeah.
Quaker Steak and Lube in Austintown.
Yeah.
We've got to go
Every
back
Sunday,
there.
yeah.
And
It's
we're
one
gonna
of our staples,
And
yeah.
we're gonna hit other local car cruises. That's what started Street Scene. That's the way we're going to end it.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think we've been good with the public around here because everybody likes showing off their cars, you know.
it was a hard start.
Yeah.
When I started this show back in 2008, people obviously you go up. I didn't have Rick at the time. I was just
By
asking
himself,
him
yeah.
questions just to get it started. And Rick was on 2 or 3 years before it's really started to take
go ahead.
off. You know, and then all of a sudden now it's, you know, like anything, it comes and they want you there. And thank you. I mean, we have to thank our audience for that because it was for you. And it's because of you that we were so successful with this show.
Yes,
And
very much.
Everybody likes to talk about their classic.
yeah,
Even if I drive one of mine and I pull into a grocery store, and I'll admit this, I try to park it where somebody's going to see it.
we all do that.
So when I come out and there's people asking, and then you kind of like walk out and you kind of act like you don't care, but then they start asking you questions. So that's exactly what car shows do, and then more so add on to that, that's what the broadcast does.
Yeah.
And I've had guys come up to me that we interviewed and said, "Hey, when am I going to be on? When am I going to be on?" They want to see that.
Yeah,
You know?
and you know it's just the opposite. You well know, you kind of park it where people want to see it. You come in, you rev the engine a little bit, you're getting gas at the gas station or something. You want to talk about it. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about the history a lot, but you don't want to talk their ear off.
You're right.
That's what the car show's for.
Yeah. Right.
And that's what this show is about. Hey, you know what? I've seen this Super Bee around here forever. Let's talk to this guy. Sure. And they go on and on, and it's great.
Especially if they did it all themselves, too.
Yeah. We've had quite a few people. Sure. I just bought it 6 months ago. Don't know anything about it. Mm-hmm. Okay, short interview. Bye. We'll see you. Yeah. But when the people that build their own cars and
or father-son story. That's the best.
Some of them.
Or daughter, father. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember it was back at one of our shows at Shepherd Self Storage. There was a Charger there, and this father and son built it. And I was like, man, what a story behind that. Mm-hmm. Just something that you'll never forget. And I haven't forgotten that shit.
Yeah.
And we had one of those down at the fireplace also. I can't remember, it was an old Chevy 56 or something.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, there's...
That was a great one, too.
I can't remember anybody's names, I'll remember a car.
Mm-hmm. You guys have to admit, during the season, there's almost a show every night somewhere.
Oh yeah, now when we first started, there wasn't really that many shows going on. Now it's like everywhere. Yeah. It's everywhere.
Let's hope it keeps that way because the younger generation's coming up, and things are changing. We were talking about this earlier. There's some car you've got to accept the newer kids. The kids, just think back when you were young. When you were young, what'd you work on? These old junkers from the 60s, the 50s, the 40s.
You'd hammer them and the rest would fall out.
Something cheap. What are the kids working out on? Something cheap. The Civics, the old Acuras. That's what's coming up, and that's what they can afford to do. So you got to embrace it. I mean, you might look at some of these cars going, why is this here? But that's what they love. That's what we love. Back then, I've had my 79 Caprice. I've had it since it was new. Since my parents bought it 7 years old. When I got ripped on it because it was a four-door family car. Now, when I drive, I get the thumbs up because you don't see them anymore.
Right.
That's what happens. And that's what's going to happen now with this younger generation coming up. We just got to keep them motivated and get them off their stupid phones all the time.
Yeah, computer games too.
Yeah.
So.
I see some pretty cool tuner cars out there.
Oh yeah, there's some beautiful ones out. Big bucks.
The bucks in those things they can put in. The mods, they're all bolt. Most of them are bolt-on mods. Remember when we used to have to fabricate parts? Doc Snyder knows all about fabricating parts. That's what started this business for him. For his, and for his family. But yeah, then you gotta embrace it. Even if you're in a car club, if you're a president of a car club or in the board, you gotta embrace the new people coming in. You can't write them off. Okay, I'm done with my rant. Let's move on.
That was the last show there.
That was the last show.
Infestation.
We're gonna go. We'll talk about Street Scene Power Hour. Let me say this one thing. Larry Ward, we invited him back to be at this last show.
Because he did quite a few shows with us.
Yeah, he did over 50 shows with us. Yeah. We invited him back. He just had 2 knee replacements, and he was trying his best to get back here, and he just couldn't be here today. He said he was in too much pain. So wish Larry Ward well. We did invite him back, and we want to thank him for starting our venture with Street Scene Power Hour with us. He was a huge help on getting guests. Yeah. I can't even tell you. It was one thing about Larry was,
we
need a guest. I got one right now. I got 2. I got 3. I'm like, where are you finding these people at? So we did get that. Larry, thank you very much, Larry, for all your hard work and dedication to the show. We wish you well and heal up quick. We want to see you on those bikes, but
yeah. How many times do we try to get guests and they're okay? We're going to go with this guest today, and the next thing you know, he cancels.
Larry had one in his back pocket every dang time, so that's part of it. And we got John in here. John brought a ton of guests off. We have. Let's go through some of these people we had. We had Richard Sindoris. We had Big Al. Remember Big Al?
Big Al.
Yeah, Mike.
Is that the list right there?
Part of it.
No?
Yeah. So we had. It's good.
We had Carl Schlegel on there, but he was our biggest guest. 4 times?
Yeah,
we couldn't get him on again.
Well, we didn't have a green jacket.
Yeah, how the golfers get their jacket, after they win Masters or whatever. I'm not in the
So
golf.
we got Jim Cahagan on there.
Yeah, so-
Instead of Carl. So,
Yeah,
so we wouldn't give him a
Carl's
tag.
a great guy.
He's good.
He listened to Car Talk on 570 WKBN on Saturday mornings.
Saturday mornings, yep.
For how many years was that?
Oh, gosh.
32 years.
I used to produce
32 years for that car show.
I used to produce his show when I was at WKBN Radio many years ago, probably 30-some years ago, when he first started out.
You know, what's interesting about having the guests is because we discuss a specific topic. Like when we had Rich Sidoris on. Rick loved it. We talked nothing but VWs. You know, but we had
the whole show's going to be
about
about
Harry
that.
from Benchwick.
Benchwick. Let me tell you about Harry Benchwick.
He's the carburetor guy.
Yes. How much could you learn from Harry Benchwick? Let me tell you something, because we had him on and we got 500 or 600 downloads on that show.
All about carburetors.
All about carburetors. I mean, there's a lot to learn, and he could rebuild a carburetor with his eyes shut. Let's face it. And I'm going to tell you, get a Holly on that stupid Firebird before you get rid of that damn Edelbroke.
We had the guy from, is it Eastbrook?
Oh, yeah.
Eastwood.
Eastwood, I'm sorry.
Mark Robideau is his
met
name.
him on a couple times.
We had him. He's they're a down-to-earth company. I mean, they were started from grassroots. Eastwood's got some awesome products. He demonstrated some for us. He sent us some samples. Everything you get at Eastwood is just top-notch.
Yeah.
And we love to have him on.
I've been using them out in my garage, the samples.
Yeah, and I want to apologize to you two and some of our guests because it's just now every time we had a guest, I'd ask if they could send us a hoodie or a T-shirt.
Just mooch off everybody, don't you?
I couldn't get it out of my system. They'd be on the show. I'd see a nice hoodie they had on. I said, "Yeah, you know, my wife would love to have a hoodie like that."
Yeah, Go Drive Magazine was the one we got a really nice hoodie from. Thank you.
That's why I brought it up.
Thank you very much. So,
now let me tell you about the Go Drive magazine. It's free for everybody out there.
Mike Zetz.
Mike
is in charge of
Zetz.
him.
You walk out of any Sparkles Market or anything, it's free. I grab them all the time. What a great magazine for when you're in the throne at home.
It doesn't even have your outhouse.
I call it, but it is. And you know, other than having car dealers and all that, you know what I like the most? They have that private section in the back.
Yeah.
And the ads are cheap.
Yeah, they're cheap. It's something, if you got it, I mean, I should have thought of this before. I'm trying to sell a Acura, and I can't have any bites on. I need to put it in there. Didn't even think about it.
It's cheap.
Yeah, it's cheap. But yeah, it's free, you know. And you remember when you used to get the car magazines and they're all over the place, you get them, just read them. That's a free one, man. You can sit there and, wow, look at that car, look at that car, look at that car.
Color pictures and
Yeah,
everything.
it's great. It's a great publication. So pick one up.
And we've had our share of pinstripers on here, too.
Guy Shively. Let's talk about Guy Shively.
Yeah. Alan Pratt.
Adam
Pratt. The Wizard.
The Wizard. I'm trying to think. Steve Chizetsky is the Wizard.
Yep.
We also had my buddy down at United Painting Supply. He's a great painter, I'm telling you. You know what? We've had, I'm just trying to go through.
I drew a blank here. The one guy we had on, he's really good. The pinstriper, the artist. What the heck's
Steve.
Steve.
Oh my goodness. No. Why am I drawing a blank as well? So
is that the guy we interviewed at Boardman at Southern Park Mall?
Yes.
Stand out there?
Yes. Yeah. I'm sorry, Steve. You know, we are old. These two are really old. So
still kicking, happy and healthy at 71.
Yeah.
Huh?
So we've had a lot of pinstripers on, a lot of paint, a lot of detailing work. About information on that, so that's been
all right.
great.
Going back to the guest, and I'm trying. You guys are cheating off a list.
I didn't bring my glasses, so that's why I'm sitting here like this.
last night. I wrote some down. So.
One of the most interesting guests, based on the topics we discussed, was the motorcycle bag racing guy.
Oh my!
Where they take these motorcycle full dressers, bags on them, fairings in the front, and they race them. He was out of. He's local. And he was working on getting a deal with, what's the racetrack out there in past Warren? Nelson Ledges.
Yeah.
But we had some great guests. Now that I'm thinking about them, some really interesting guests. And
Rob Boydos, is that him?
It was. You're absolutely
Rob
right.
Boydos.
Yeah, that was a cool show. And what makes the show interesting is their knowledge, what they bring. Yep. And we picked their brains.
Yeah.
We picked their brains on that.
Yeah, and again, we have questions. We don't know it all. We know next to nothing probably.
I know pretty much.
How about that one gal we had on there?
Wife.
How about that one gal we had on there at the motorcycles? What was her name? Jody?
No, Jody.
Yeah.
That was way back with Larry, wasn't it?
Yeah, Shiley, I
Here we
think.
go. Well, we had
She was really
Denise
good.
Dickerson. We had way back when,
Okay.
FZ1 girl. But yeah, there was some. I mean, that's why I was wanted Larry here. He can rattle off the names.
I recall the
without
guest
him-
that Larry got. I was watching some of the older shows. He was a tire expert.
Oh, okay. This is one of our most interesting
This
shows.
is probably one of my favorite shows of all.
Was that cool?
Yeah.
The Tire Guy. Did you watch that episode?
I did.
If you go on YouTube, look up the Tire Guy, Tyre guy.
Like they spell it in England. Tyre.
I'm drawing a blank, but I will find it here. So you talk while I'm searching.
You talk about tires. This guy knew everything about tires. Plus, and it was like amazing what he knew.
So here's what you think. So think of the two guests we have. Things that you thought were somewhat simple. You knew everything. Tires and carburetors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Two
there's
topics where you thought, oh my God, I didn't know there was that much involved in tires. No, the Tire Guy was cool.
The Tire Guy. I learned something very good off of
TJ
him.
Tennant.
Yeah, that's it.
TJ Tennant.
Yeah. He taught us that tires are old after 6-7 years.
Oh yeah.
You got to get rid of them.
Yeah.
In fact, I was negotiating with this one car dealership about buying this car, and the car only had 7,000 miles on it. Okay. And the car was 10 years old. And I told the guy, I said, this car needs new tires. He goes, it only has 7,000. I said, they're no good after 6-7 years. And he knew it too. But
The stuff, the
I
way
didn't buy
the
the car.
tire, he explained why the tire tread was this way and why it was this way, and then the sidewall lane. It just stuff you never think about.
Yeah.
No.
And it's like, wow. And he probably put me in the ground. You know when I had tires put on Herbie, 1998.
oh, yikes. Yeah.
But I still.
And he goes in and for lawsuits also. They hire him in for lawsuits.
Yeah. He is the expert and knows everything about
He's
it.
all over the world with this too.
Yeah.
How did Larry, I mean, I know Larry got gas. How did he find him?
I have no idea. I wish he was here to
It was
tell
a
us.
radio show, yeah.
Well, he had the two-wheel.
Power Hour. That's where Street Scene Power Hour came from. We took Power Hour.
So, that was one of the shows I remember in the past.
That was probably one of my favorite.
We've had
guests,
we've had Nate Miller. Nate Miller he was Buckeye Auto Restoration. He was building Mustangs. Now it's Rust Belt Broncos up in Canfield. He started he really was
Nate
with
was
us a
real
long
big with us at
time.
first, yeah.
And thank you, Nate, and your dad. And Nate's been a supporter of us for a long time. And boy, I tell you what,
Talking about the guests when I came on board to the show, and thank you, gentlemen, for inviting me because I love doing the show. So, you as part of the co-host, it's your responsibility to get guests, as Larry.
Yep.
And I run these. I said, man, I got a great guest. I'd run a name by it. Here's what I'd hear. Now we had him. Oh, I got this other guy. This other guy is really cool. Yeah, we had him.
Yeah, we had him.
And I'm going through the list and I'm thinking, who haven't you had?
Well, we had a lot of people.
We had, 88 episodes? Was that
Yeah, but remember, we started off with 2 guests per episode. We split them.
Yeah.
Which, you know what, it was great to have 2 guests, but I felt like, we wanted to concentrate. That's why when we moved with you, we wanted 1 guest to concentrate on just them.
Yeah, because an hour is not really long when you get an interesting
No,
guest.
and we're talking, and like Larry likes to talk.
Oh, yeah.
Larry likes to talk.
He's a radio guy. Radio guys are great.
Yeah, so that was the point of having just 1 guest. I always remember the Jeep festival in Butler. We had her on, and that was really interesting. So, the glass guy, Don Gusney.
Oh, yeah, from Hubbard there, yeah.
Yeah, we had him talking about glass. We had Cyclone Interiors.
Repair that glass. Oh, the Cyclone Interiors.
Cyclone Interiors.
I could have did that. We had, Mark on or Tim? Was it?
It was Tim.
Tim,
It was
and
Tim.
we could do another show with that. I'd love to talk in interiors.
I mean, they do really good work,
Oh, they're
and
like the
and
best.
they're
They're the best.
local. They're right
Yeah.
down on Indianola Avenue in Youngstown. We've had let's see, Wizard Graphics, Steve Dapolito, right down from Armstrong. Steve Dapolito is a racer.
Race car
driver. That's interesting. If you don't, go back and look at that show of how, you don't think of when they're doing dirt track racing, of how they have to set up the cars just right. You have bigger tires on one side, smaller on the other side because you're going around to the left, and they set the suspension and they set the air pressure and then there's all the regulations involved. I will left with a headache trying to figure all that out and listen to him. Like, he knows a lot of stuff about this.
I talk to Steve at least once a week. And he just picked up an old Whizzer motorbike, like I did. He picked up an old one. No, it was a sports. It's a unique, and he thanked me. He said, "Nah, you sucked me into this, John. Thanks a lot." But his car's put away for the season. They're working on it. They're gonna, do whatever they got to do. But he was in a pretty bad accident.
When was that?
No, during the racing.
Oh,
that time. He
yeah.
rolled it over.
Yeah, that's right.
Other than the round track racing, we had the drag strip guy on.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I forget his name, but and here's the cool part. He won't mind me saying this. He's drag racing. And he's like 76.
That's not Bullet, is it?
Bill Billette?
No.
Billette. Tony Billette.
Tony Bullet, yeah.
Bill Billette. Bill Billette's an old friend of ours.
Yeah, I worked with Bill.
Tony Billette. Yeah, what a.
Yeah.
How about that guy?
Yeah.
How about that dragster?
That's crazy stuff.
You
gotta have big,
Well,
do one of those.
Here's what's crazy. When you have to drive, because your favorite question to people is how fast you're going. How fast did you ever go? When your car has to have a parachute on it, you're going too fast.
You're just getting started.
Yeah.
That's the best part of it. And Doc Snyder can attest to that. They're driving fast. So let's talk real quick about Doc Snyder's place here. It's not just classic cars here. He has a full restoration shop with Doug Dunkel, who is, my opinion. My opinion. Doug's the best.
Yeah.
The best. I'm always calling him for advice, and he's right there. But if you need some work done for restorations, this is the place to go.
Remember the Model A, Model T parts too.
Yeah, Model T, Snyder's Auto.
Right here,
Yeah,
New
you got
Middletown.
that.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. And they've graced us 3 times. We've barged our way in here and drooled all over his floor and just destroyed everything.
I was drooling when we first walked in with that Charger and that Cuda.
I bought a Camaro off the facility here, which was the first time I came in here, and I thought I was dreaming. I walked through here and I looked at this and I said, I got it. This is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
You can't describe it.
No.
It's beautiful.
But so a couple other guests we had. Keith Zybrig. Keith's a friend of the shows. He had the mini bikes.
Oh, okay.
That's another realm that you want to dive into. You can have the cars and you have motorcycles. These mini bikes, some of them, again, you know me, I've got 2 classic Dune Cats. You remember those when you were kids? They only made them 2 years. They're fiberglass body Dune, or like a go-kart. And that's how I got to know him. And he's like, I've been to the mini bikes, and wow, some of those are going for high dollars.
Yeah, big bucks.
And you figure you buy those for your kids, they beat the crap out of them, they wreck them, you throw them in the garbage. To find a nice, pristine example of what Keith does is very hard to do. I know I have 2 Dune Cats from, my buddy had one when we were kids, and I got obsessed with them. I bought 2, I had one that was in good shape. The one I'm putting in the back burner to restore my Torino. A lot of fiberglass work. Yeah. And, but they're cool. And the mini bikes are cool. The Honda 50s, the 70s.
I've recently got into, and when we talk classic cars, some people listening to this show are going to shake their head. I got into mopeds.
They're cool.
And I just think the mopeds are so cool. And some people confuse mini bikes, motorbikes to mopeds. Mopeds are literally a bike with a motor that you can pedal.
Yeah.
That's the moped of it.
Yeah.
And they are just cool. They got some cool ones out there. And I'll tell you what, some of the older ones aren't that cheap.
No.
You're not going to pay $50-$60 for them. You're going to pay $1,500, $2,000, $2,300.
Well, even some of the motorcycles. You think motorcycles are cheap? Go back and get some classic Indian motorcycles, or they're
Oh yeah, the stock ones.
Thousands and thousands.
And they have a beautiful Whizzer back here, Whizzer motorbike. A red one.
See?
Yeah. I should bring my blue one here.
And they got the nowadays version of the moped, the electric bike with the pedals on
They
it
do.
and everything.
Yeah. Haggerty sells a pretty cool vintage-looking electric bike. But
So,
we're
you
gonna
know,
get Rick an all-electric bike for Christmas.
no,
Get Greg one. He likes electric.
I can't ride a bike with my life dependent on it now. Big Al's, let me talk about it real quick. We had guest Big Al from Brothers of Power.
Brothers of Power.
Great car club. They're always supportive of us. And man, you know,
We had them on a couple of times, didn't we?
Yeah, you have different styling of cars, and you know, typically they like the Cadillacs, the olds, the big
Buicks.
wheels.
Oh man, the big
I
things.
have grown to love those. things.
sure.
They're so cool. How and the time and money they put into those, and they're hopped up. They run like crazy.
We did a show with them, but the day we did the show, it was raining like crazy. We pulled a good show
We
out
pulled
of
a
it.
show out of it,
Yeah.
and you know, we loved it.
I
It
went
was
to the
fun.
show the year before that, and boy, they had tons of cars. there.
Yeah.
It was in a different location too. So.
Yeah, so yeah, it was another guest
The
we've
old big
had.
sleds are cool. Didn't you go to the, what's the show downtown Youngstown?
Iron
something,
Rust Belt
Rust-
Revival.
Oh, Rust Belt Revival is the greatest.
That
yes.
is one of the best shows in the area now.
I
I'm
went there
telling
this
you.
year, too.
Now
I
here's
go
something.
there every year. So.
Yeah, here's something that we butt heads about. The Volkswagens. You're not a Volkswagen guy. I kind of like the patina look. Mm-hmm. You're the
Glossy.
glossy shape.
I'm a detailer. I like it shiny and bright and
yeah.
looking
I like
pretty.
anything.
I like we could shave in the paint job, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like what we have here. I had we pulled in here to docks, and the first thing I'm setting up, I'm like, there's body parts of the 69 Charger shop. I gotta move those. If I dump this on that paint, I am done.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
Rust
so-
Belt Revival is really cool.
really good show.
And if you haven't been there, and if you get tired after a while, you go right across the street to Penguin Brewing and have some beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rick judges all those shows by how close the bar is.
Who's got the best bourbon, huh?
Well, you know, is there any other guests we want to bring up? I mean,
Oh,
there's
you know, we had Krista on a few times.
Yeah, we had Krista,
Krista
you know-
Sylvester, she's one of our
yeah,
colleagues.
we've had her on.
We've had Rich Morgan on once. I
Rich
think.
Morgan on.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Remember we had Bill Sumner's on there from the Heritage Days.
yeah, we've had probably over 100 guests, so we're not going to go through each one of you. You
Yeah.
don't want to put you to sleep.
We had Mark Cole on there.
Yep. But
Insurance.
And then some of the best shows is when we didn't have a guest.
yeah, we got to chat and nobody could control us.
And everything, come on.
But you know, we're going to wrap this up pretty quickly. Again, this is the last Street Scene Power Hour, and we want to thank our audience for supporting us. Hopefully, look for us in the future somewhere else. Maybe we'll do something else.
You'll be okay.
I know, yeah, it's his Rick's life. I know.
I do. I love the cars. I love the people. I just love talking about.
You know what I miss about
cars.
doing this show versus when we tape it from our thing? I don't hear none of your dogs barking.
Oh, well, my girlfriend's dogs. We got 3 of them there now.
Yeah.
So before it was my dog always used to bark. We had to put
No,
her down this pasture.
yeah.
so.
Well, that's why I don't do it at my house. We have 7 dogs.
That's part of it. That's part of the beauty of a podcast. You
Yeah.
know? It's like in your living room, in your
But-
wherever you want to do it, you can do it.
Since we're closing this out, let me say, and I truly, I looked forward to Wednesday evenings. I loved doing the Power Hour. I got a kick out of doing it. I love finding out more information on whether it be carburetors or tires or whatever. So if some of our plans don't go through, I want to thank you guys again, you two, and I really, truly enjoyed being part of that show.
Well, we enjoyed having you.
It was a great time.
When did we start that? Remember?
No, it's been 3 years now.
Has it been that long?
2
Right
years,
after
3
right
years.
after COVID or
Yeah,
during
right
COVID?
after. We needed something, because remember, before COVID, Teams and Zoom really were there, but they weren't used. That's what started this. I mean, it's so easy to get guests. Larry got guests from Florida. He'd go down to Florida and you call
Oh,
him.
yeah, from the
I mean,
Daytona,
it's
yeah.
a great thing to have. And John, you took over the reins. You just ran with it. So thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome, and I enjoyed it.
Since, again, this is our last year of Street Scene, this is probably maybe the last time that me and Rick will be wrapping things up. I want you to think of one show of street scene for the last 16 years that stuck out in your mind
Oh,
that you love to
one?
go to?
Well,
I think you already know mine.
It's probably either, it's going to be Boardman, Austintown, or Boardman Park, or Lowellville. One of those two. They're about the same for me. They're really good. I just love the people down there and the cars, and make you feel right at home, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's either Lowellville or Boardman Park.
Wings and Wheels.
Wings and
I didn't want to leave that show. We got to fly in a plane. Rick was claustrophobic. I love to see him squirm.
Oh, I squirmed. It was the neatest thing. We got my girlfriend talked to the one lady, the husband, the wife there, and she goes, "Sure, I'll take you up." We go. I'm ready to get in. I'm ready to go up and get into the plane. And he shut the door, and I couldn't. I said, I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm claustrophobic, okay? And I said, I can't do this. So I tried again. I couldn't do it. And all of a sudden, he started the plane. He got the air going through it. I shut the door. I said, let's go. And it was the greatest thing in the world.
One of my favorite T-shirts. I try to get T-shirts from every show is the Wink Show.
Yeah.
Because it's a cool T-shirt. But yeah, I actually took flight lessons for a number of years.
And Bill Griffin's family, Bill Griffin's passed now.
Yeah.
Bless his family.
Bill
was a great guy.
We cruised up in the air for
That is
about
so cool.
half an hour or something.
Yeah,
And
I love
Greg's
getting
in the back there.
I'm in the back of the camera getting footage of it. I'm like, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah,
So.
I was like, once I got in and got up, it was like, oh, this is so cool.
If you've been to Wings and Wheels anywhere, Newcastle or here or in Warren, watching those bombers land was something to see. Just these huge planes landing in the grass. Like, geez, this is incredible. So that one always stuck out for me. Piston power always sticks out for me. And every one of them.
Piston power is good,
It's funny, after doing this all these years, you'll go by a car, I'm like, I remember the car. Or it's like, hey, remember that car from 2010? Yeah, I still remember it. You still remember this stuff, but
a lot of times I don't remember the guy until he stands in front of the car. Oh, I remember you now.
You know what? I didn't do the shows with you guys. You guys are going back on the shows that you did while you like them. But I'll be up front with you. Out of all the car shows around here, if I'd pick #1 car show, and this isn't being biased, it's the Street Scene Show.
Car and Custom Bike Show. Well, we appreciate that.
I'm telling you.
It's grown over the years.
Yeah.
It's grown. We want to thank Shepherd Self Storage, the Sylvester family. Chris has been a co-host from second one.
Yeah.
And they let us use their parking lot when they had Shepherd Self Storage for free. We moved to Chili's for a couple years. Thank you, Corey Ward, for that one. We moved there for a couple years. It's hot. It's like when I took, the show got kind of taken away from me from organizing it for quite a few years. When I got it back, we moved it to Austin Park in the grass. I think that was the first move I made.
Yeah.
So
I remember the first show when you hooked us up with Krista. You hooked me up with Krista, and I go, I was used to doing the show myself, okay? And I go, how's this gonna do? This girl coming in there with me, and you know what? It was the greatest thing.
You want to know somebody that knows everything about cars?
I threw her the ball. She went for a touchdown every time.
Man, was like, she knows so much.
Whoa! And she just went.
Wealth of knowledge up here on cars.
Well, she grew up with her brother and her dad.
Yeah, I mean they're car guys, and you know Joey Sylvester, Monster Trucks. He did dirt track racing. He just retired from Monster Trucks. He's selling real estate, I think now. So good blessings to them.
We've had him on the show too. I forgot about Joey.
Sylvester.
Yeah, a couple times.
I want to do a last update. Of John. We'll start with you. What are you going to work on this year? And what's your goals for the future?
Well, it's almost like ties in with the end of this show. And I'll do it briefly. My dad was like I am. He was a jack of all trades. He was always working on something. Had a big garage in the Canfield area that was filled with tools, and he would fix things, but he wouldn't replace parts. He'd fix and make parts. Well, when you fix and make parts, you don't throw nothing away.
Sounds like my dad.
You need that lever. You need that tool.
They came from that generation, though, where
and that's how I was trained
pre-war.
And so when he passed away and we went down there, I couldn't believe. And I asked, how are we going to get rid of all this stuff?
Oh, man.
So I convinced myself. I told myself, and look, we're both. I'm still healthy, but I'm getting older. You got to slowly start backing away. So I know I'm a car flipper, But I'm not buying.
Yes, you are.
I'm not. I'm not buying. You guys ask me, hey, what do you got now? And if you notice, I haven't purchased a car lately. Going with the mopeds.
Something's wrong here.
Well, here's why. I used to buy the project cars.
Yeah.
And I'd bring them back and work on them. I'm not working on project cars no more. So the cars I buy now, I'm going to still give them their turnkey drive, tweak out a little bit. Those are a little bit more costly. You don't find them that much. The project cars, I find them behind barns.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of slowing down. My plans are to pick up some cars that I could work on and enjoy and flip. Really getting into the mini bikes and mopeds like Keith told me about. That's my future there. But slowly, in all honesty, getting stuff out of the back garage, keeping some of the cool stuff. Most difficult thing to do is throw away stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I can't throw nothing away. It has value to it. I'll get something, and if it comes in a package and it has bolts on the package, they're
You're
just
throwing them in a bin.
I'll keep the bolts.
Yeah, well, that's good.
You know,
when you're going to use it.
I don't know what I may need that.
Yeah.
I got a big thing of bolts
Of
and nuts
bolts,
and everything.
clips. But anyway, I'm getting involved with it. But I think you're gonna, if we do shows and all that, I'm gonna get with Keith a little bit. I want to set up some mopeds and mini bikes next to his display. They're kind of neat to work on.
Yep. So, and Rick, you've had quite a few cars in your career here. When you
Right
start
now-
off with that Camaro you had.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I started out with that 71 Ford LTD.
That's
Remember
right.
that? The
Yeah, I don't think you
convertible.
were doing the show then, but I remember
No.
when you had it.
That was like my first collector car. And that
Okay.
was nice, but then I got rid of it. I was going to put some money into it, and I said, I had time to move on to something else. And then I got the Camaro and a little bit of everything else in there. You
Yeah,
know?
so-
I had the Camaro for every couple of years I get another car.
That's how it
In
is.
fact, I sold my BMW, my Z8, and I'm getting something else now. I don't know what.
I bought a new Ford Bronco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
New one.
Brand new Bronco Sport. Real quick, and I'll give it back to you. So I take my truck in, my F-150. It's reaching 120,000 miles. They come back. They say, "Here's what you need: tires, brakes, blah blah." I said, "Well, how much is all that going to cost?" They said, $3,700.
Oh.
I said, "Hold on." I walk into the dealer. I said, "Hey, what can I get with $3,700 down on a new vehicle?" And I drove the Bronco home.
Yeah. Hey, why not? I'm a stickler. I haven't had a car payment in decades.
Oh, me either.
And I drive, you know what I drive. We came up in a 2004 Jeep Liberty.
How many miles?
It's got 240,000 on it. Well, I love to tell in the story. I had a Ranger. It had 425,000 miles when
Yeah,
I
it
sold
is
it
cool.
on the original motor. I had to put head gaskets in it, but it was. And a guy bought it and he was still driving it. I'm like, geez.
That's
but-
cool.
Yeah, I love that truck. But you know what? Your plans for the future, what are you going to do?
After the Camaro, I was trying to think what I had. After the Camaro, I had the Cougar. Remember?
You had that Cougar that I
Cougar
told
was
you not
nice.
to get
Yeah,
rid of.
that was nice. I liked the Cougar.
Yeah.
And then after the Cougar, I got Thunderbird, and now I have the '69 Firebird.
Yep.
Which I'm almost done with. It's just like little things. It's
Yeah.
always
That's
something.
a good looking Firebird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting there. I just
So
went
you're pointing out your cars, and you're like me. You're not really stuck on one make or model.
No.
No, I go around.
That's
yeah.
one thing we have to agree on here, all of us. We like all of them. There's not, people, I like Fords, I don't
Yeah.
like Chevys. I like Chevys, I like Dodges. Man, I've got a little of everything at home, so.
Well, when, I'd be at Jim's VW show with one of my VWs, and then I'd be at the Corvette show with my Vet.
Yeah, I know. It's.
How do you put those two?
Yeah, well, everybody's like, oh, you got, how many, what do you have? I said, well, I have two Fords, I've got a Chevy, I've got a Chrysler product, I've got a
BMW.
Mitsubishi, Volkswagens, I've got a little of everything.
Yeah.
And they all have their goods and bads. And that's
Yeah,
what every
yeah.
car, they all have their good and bad. It doesn't matter what brand you have.
And it's nice learning a little about each model and make.
And they're all different. They're all different. And there's some that
And yet, let me go back, they can be all the same. We had the Dodge guy on, out of Hubbard or...
Tommy's Toy
Tommy's
Box.
Toy Box. That was
Tommy's
couple-
Toy
yeah.
Box is a really
Yeah.
cool
Yeah.
episode. You got to watch that.
Yeah.
He's all into the Dodge trucks. And man, I tell you what, I always wanted a macho power wagon. I always wanted one so bad. Still want one. I'll never get
Anyway,
one.
your future, we interrupted.
Your
you.
future.
My future, I'm not sure. Before I always have a classic car, and I'd like to have a sports car too. So before I had my Z8, I had a Nissan 350Z. So now I sold my Z8. I'm looking for another sports car. So I'm not sure what right yet. I might go back to a 370Z. I'm looking at them, and there's a price range though I want to stay in, you know. And,
Would it be new or used?
I'll use one for sure. I want a convertible. It's got to be a convertible.
Give us a price range on a good used.
I'm 20, 25, right in there. You can get something really. What the problem is, you can get something for a lot less with more miles.
Yeah.
But I like to get the cars with less miles on
Yeah.
it. When I bought my C8, it had 19,000 miles on it. Okay, and it was an '09. I bought it 3 years ago. Now I sold it. It has 25,000 miles on it. And you try to find one of those with 25,000 miles, the price is up here.
Yeah.
But you can get one with 60, 70,
Will
80,000.
you go out of state where they?
Sure.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Interesting.
I bought my one BMW from Florida, Miami, I think it was. Yeah. So, and this my Z8 I bought out of Virginia. So,
Did you drive them back?
no, I had them towed back.
Yeah.
If I was younger, I would have.
That's the point. You start stepping back, like you
Yeah.
said. You used to keep everything. Like I said, I'm starting to clear out my stuff. I'm
You
done
have
having
to.
junk everywhere.
You have to.
You know, and it's one of those things. Yeah, you got to clear out, or you're going to be hoarded.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
thank God I don't live on a farm.
Yeah, with a big barn or something.
Oh my God.
2 or 3 barns. First barn's full. Oh man, I need a new barn.
The second one's full of parts. You know.
Yeah. We had another thing I wanted to mention. We did a show out of my hometown, New Wilmington. We did John. Why can't Dr. Mansell?
Mansell.
And he had
that was a heck of
over
a-
100 convertibles. You know.
Yeah.
But you know, he was you could call him a collector. He was a hoarder. You know, he put them in there and just left them.
He'd go on vacation, they'd buy a car, and he'd bring it back and sit it in the
that
barn.
was our biggest episode. We had over 60,000 hits on that show on YouTube. And, you know, barn finds. It was, and he had he had the 53 Vet. He had some rare cars
some
in there.
rare ones on
and
there.
you know what? We've run into, you know, when he passed away, they sold 100 of those cars. And we've run into a couple that have been restored, and they've done a nice job. What I'm going to do, I have my Caprice that I've had since my parents bought it new when I was 7. I still have that car. I have my Ford LTD, 68 LTD that I've had since '96. My grandfather bought it brand new in '68. So that's been in the family.
Isn't that the one you attempted to drive home?
Yeah. Well, quick story, since we have time and we're wrapping up, so we can take your time. My grandfather and grandmother bought it brand new. Well, it was his company car. He bought it brand new. My grandmother died in '82. So she left it on my parents' property that I had in Arizona up until until '96. So it sat there for 14 years. I finally got the title for it. I had my parents took it down to my machine shop, got the engine rebuilt and all that. I got to Eric, Oklahoma, and it threw a push rod, and it broke. All the valves stuck, and it bent all the push rods. I'm like. My dad's like, why don't you just leave it here? I'm like, no, I'm hauling it home. And by the miracle of God, there was a U-Haul place right next door to where it broke down, and they just got a truck in with a trailer. So I hauled it back, got it engine rebuilt for the second time, and I've had it ever since. And that's been a really good car. It's all Arizona car, and then my dad helped me restore Herbie. Had that since '98. Then I have my '61 Beetle that I restored in 2015. It's red. And now I'm currently working on a '70 Torino. So,
He's going to paint it black.
Black. Gotta be black.
Everything black.
Yeah.
Gotta be black. So, finish up the body work now. I hope to have it painted by spring.
I'm going to inspect the heck out of that car. You know
shut
that?
I told
Black,
Rick
man. That
he
thing's
has
got to
no
be
right to
razor sharp.
You have no right to inspect anything unless you do body work. So
don't do body
don't
work.
criticize. I am not good as Doug. I admit it, but I'll do the best I can, and I'm fine with that. So it'll be, but the body wasn't too bad. There was only a couple rust holes and patches that need, welded those in, put some light filler on them, and the body is already straight. So I think I'm in good shape.
You're gonna keep the original engine, but you got a big
Came
one.
with a 302 C4 transmission. Bought a 429 to dump it into C6.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put a 429 in it. They came factory with a 429. It's not a 70 429.
That's gonna be a sweet car. You know, you mentioned driving your car home and it broke down. One quick story: I had that '54 Ford Custom Line. Guy bought it outside of way in Pennsylvania somewhere. So he says, "Well, could you drive it to me?" And it had a 312, first of the Y blocks.
Y blocks.
I didn't know much. It still had a 6-volt in it. I didn't know much about the car. I didn't have it that long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could drive it. You know, so I get on Route 11, and I'm driving down in 3-speed on a tree, and the oil light starts flashing, and other gauges start flashing, and I'm telling myself, "Oh, it's just wired wrong." You know, none of those mean nothing. And people are beeping, and give me the thumbs up, and I'm just waving. All I wanted to do was get there. But when it's done, you think, how cool was that?
Yeah, you'll never forget those stories because, man, you're stressed out going, man, I just want to die.
You're grit tight.
Oh, yeah, you know, your butt cheeks are squeezed on the seat and you grab the steering wheel, you know, you're going, I don't know if I'm going to make it home. And I had that happen with Herbie. I was driving it down to, real quick, I was up here at a car show. I lived in Pittsburgh at the time, and I was driving Herbie, and I got on the turnpike, stupid move for a bug. I spun a bearing out on that, and it started knocking. I'm like, oh, man, this is the worst day of my life. But, you know, it worked out for the better. Then I got Jim's Custom VW to build me a nice runner. So got that dumped in, and it's been like that ever since.
With the, I was going to say hydraulic, with the wipers that...
vacuum operated?
Vacuum, yeah. And...
Those are always fun.
Well, the faster you go, the slower they go.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, then you got to slow down, then they go real fast.
Kind of like 6-volt with a generator.
So
you know?
I'm coming home and it started. I just bought the car. I'm coming home. It had power windows, and it was an older Ford, 50. I forgot, round lights in the back. And it started raining, and I go to put the power window up, and it worked fine, but there was no glass in it. It was just a frame. So the rain's coming in. So now it's raining a little hard. I said, let me put these wipers on, and they're going. Psh.
Invisible glass.
And I said, let off the gas so they go quicker, faster. Well, they went faster. This wiper flew that way, and this wiper flew that way. And there's me driving home.
Yeah. It's like, what is a pet detector when Jim Carrey's out the window driving? You know, that's what you're doing.
Look, this is the coolest hobby there is. Come on. You get that and especially classics. We reflect back to the days where we had better times. We remember good times. We bust our knuckles. We work. When you're done, you step back. How many times when you're done working on a car do you go in the house and then walk back and look at what you did again? Then you go in the house and you walk back and you look at what you did again.
I still do that. I go back and just stare at the cars. I'm like, you know what? I built all these cars.
Yeah, that's just
I built these out from scratch. You know, Herbie was in a field in Grove City with weeds growing up here with the floors. I had to cut all the floors out.
Now it has
Same
a nice
with the
home.
Redbug. Redbug was in just ask me or message me if you want to know the story of the Redbug. That's a long story, and it involves when I was a kid riding a bike.
You'll be signing that book at the bookstore, Redbug.
Redbug. Yeah. But you know what?
Another one of our shows before we go here that was real big was the tractor show in Hartford.
I was going to mention that, the tractor.
That got a lot of hits.
You know, again, another...
What was this? A tractor show.
Yeah, it was a tractor show up in Hartsville. Another spin to this is people restore buses. I'm just looking at the school bus that Doc's had restored. It's awesome. Tractors. Here's one. Look at this right here. There's tractors. All the money and
those
time.
Those two guys have been listening to us all this time.
Yeah, and they look like they've been here a long time. So tractors. I mean, a lot of money. You got a Ford 9N tractor you're restoring.
Yeah.
Those things are going for big bucks, and there's a lot of time and effort going into it. They're cool.
You know what's coming up? Classic. Well, they've always been around. Classic boats.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
How much time? I know nothing about boats other than to sit in one.
The wooden ones. Oh yeah.
The old wooden lineman.
Yeah. I mean, how much work goes into those? I can't imagine.
Crisscross. Is it?
Crisscross. Craft.
Crisscross. Okay.
But how much wood? Woodworking and stuff, and how do you seal them? Everybody's got their hobby. This is an awesome hobby, but you know what? We want to thank the audience for at least on this show about 3 years. And wanted to take
You'll be okay.
We wanted to thank Rick.
Why?
I don't know why. I was just joking.
Thank you.
We want to thank our audience for 16 years of a great show. We have one more season, and that'll make 17. Make sure you support us when we come out. Thank you for the support.
Thank you very much for all the
these years
support,
of making us kind of locally famous, which is nice. Nice, you know.
We're famous?
I don't know. Well, did you sign a dashboard?
Oh, yeah,
what did Cindy always say to you?
I'm not famous until I sign an autograph. But we got a lot of pictures taken with people.
I signed it. It was mine. My desk.
Microphone. I have to remind you. You know how long you've been doing this? I still have to remind you to do that.
No. About 2 or 3 shows after I did it, and I thought, who really watches this Street Scene Power Hour? I was at a local supermarket. I'm walking, and some guy passing me up says, "Hey, Street Scene." It was kind of cool.
Yep.
It was kind of good hearing that.
And before we go, we had I do other TV shows. We had a show with Jim Evans called Loose Change. If you want to watch it, a little bit of comedic and sitting down with some of our local heroes. The one guy, he was at a Parks Garden Center. Jim's wrapping up the show, and you'll watch it if you want to watch it. It's on now. He goes, "Okay, we want to thank you for being here. I'll see you down the road." That's the first thing he said. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Where did that come from? Just one day we just threw it in there.
He just threw it out because he's a street scene fan.
Yeah.
So thank you.
When we did it, when we started that, where did it come from?
You
started
that. So thank you very much for everything you've done for us.
Thank you.
Look for us. And we will see you at some